Hello ladies and gentlemen, how are y'all doing today? I just finished doing some upper body strength training for the past hour or so. I'm going to be feeling that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson strong and sturdy. And now I'm ready for my favorite part of the day, talking about basketball. Can you smell what I'm cooking? In today's episode, we'll be talking about the wonder boy of this season, LaMelo Ball. His name in the future will definitely strike fear in opposing teams, and who knows? The three Ball brothers might play together and create some kind of Chino Hills in the NBA. What a legendary high school team, by the way. I think they went like 35-0 in that year, and they were being coached by arguably the GOAT of all dads, LaVar Ball. Man, I don't like to use the word hate too much, but I hated the way they treated LaVar on ESPN for the silly switch gears thing. That's probably why I don't really watch First Take as much anymore, but instead I watch Undisputed. Shannon and Skip are two classy gentlemen. Anyway, before we start going to a little hypothetical here on what if LaMelo Ball was drafted by the Warriors, I'm going to ask you to switch gears and smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, welcome back to Hoop Reports. First off, guys, aside from the pandemic that's making things a little bit hard for some players, LaMelo Ball has been playing like he was born to be in the NBA. His rookie performances are exemplary, and he's been worthy of all the hype that was surrounding him since his high school days. He's been averaging about 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, while shooting about 45% from the field and about 38% from beyond the arc. Green kept calling LaMelo a problem as he was quick, energetic, and challenging to slow down. Just imagine if LaMelo Ball wasn't drafted third, but second instead by the Dubs. Okay, y'all know most of the backstory. Before the 2020 NBA draft, one half of the Splash Brothers, Klay Thompson, picked up an Achilles injury that would prematurely end his season. In effect, finding someone to fill in that void was something the Warriors looked into immediately. There were several claims that the Warriors told LaMelo that they would draft him, but after weighing on some other options, Golden State picked James Wiseman, who is considered a better long-term fit for the team. Now let's get back to LaMelo. His debut was not really what many hoped for. LaMelo played like 16 minutes in the first game and laid a goose egg with 0 points. This loss, however, was more like a wake-up call for LaMelo, as since then, he's been on an absolute tear in the league, with other stars such as Donovan Mitchell saying he's the real deal. I mean, as a rookie, he's had already a couple of 30-point games and about a dozen games where he scored 20-plus points. It's not just the points he's putting up, but the way he's putting it up. I've been closely following the NBA for almost 2 decades now, and I have never seen any player play the way this kid does. He did just hurt his wrist recently and may be out for the rest of the season, which just whomps, by the way. First KD, then LeBron, and now LaMelo. Anyway, it's safe to say that before the injury, LaMelo was the clear front runner for becoming the Rookie of the Year. Now let's take a look at what would have happened if the Warriors had drafted this kid. The first questions are, of course, would the Warriors have been a better defensive team or offensive team? LaMelo can be aggressive sometimes, especially when he is defending. He's within the top 10 in the league for steals, and within all point guards, LaMelo is ranked 5th in total rebounds. Man, James Wiseman is a beast. And I'm not saying LaMelo would be better than him on defense, but the kid does hold his own on the defensive side of the court for sure. On offense, well, LaMelo is averaging 16 points per game while shooting decently efficient as well. Within all point guards in the league, LaMelo is ranked in the top 10 in terms of player efficiency. The Warriors would have been strong offensively with his dynamic way of attacking the rim and distributing the ball. Steph would not have had to carry so much of the burden for creating plays. Ball's pace would definitely be a problem for defenders, and I'm sure he would have fit perfectly into Kerr's small ball system. Since LaMelo knows how to get by the initial defender, whether through a quick first step or by using a screen, he constantly draws other defenders, in which would leave the Splash Brothers open for what they do best, splashing threes from downtown. One thing I've been impressed with in particular is this kid's ability to make difficult passes. I mean, I don't think anyone makes more entertaining passes than LaMelo. If he were on the Warriors, he'd be the second magician next to Steph. The Dubs are currently the leading assist team in the league, and if Melo was doing his thing with the Dubs, they'd potentially be one of the best assist teams in NBA history. Now, the next logical question we would have to ask is, would LaMelo Ball have helped the Warriors become a better team than they are now? A lot of people have narrowed in on this debate. Where would the Warriors be if they had LaMelo on their roster? It was evident from the way the stars were aligned that LaMelo was going to be an all-star in the NBA, and it all depended on how quickly he was able to turn that into a reality. Well, it would appear that his transition to becoming an all-star would definitely be more on the quicker side rather than the longer side, like, say, Mike Conley, who took over 10 years to reach all-star status. Golden State is looking long-term, so here's the breakdown. LaMelo is definitely progressing a lot faster than James Wiseman, but I believe in the long term, James Wiseman would be a much better fit with the team. Still though, a fit over talent is a tricky thing. I mean, picking fit over talent was what made the Memphis Grizzlies lose out on James Harden and Steph Curry when they were available. So although James Wiseman is seen to be an excellent fit for the squad, it's hard not to think about the prospect of Ball, Curry, and Clay. They would probably name them the Splash Ballers. Or maybe not. The name needs a little bit of work, but they would make a fantastic team, and not to mention top-of-the-line basketball entertainment. For this current season, however, with the points LaMelo is pulling each game, it's hard not to say that the Warriors would have had a better team this season. The Warriors did not make a bad pick in Wiseman, but comparing the two rookies' abilities to create chances for others, ball IQ, and pace, LaMelo would probably be on top. Our next question, how would the rotations have changed for the Warriors if LaMelo was on the team? Currently, the Warriors have been playing with Kevon Looney, Draymond Green, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins, and Steph Curry. But with LaMelo in the mix, the Warriors could have practically 2 point guards on the floor at all times that can both create good scoring opportunities and score. Curry, LaMelo, and not to mention Jordan Poole, who has been on a tear since after the All-Star break, would be a nightmare backcourt for opposing teams to deal with. How would LaMelo fit with Steph Curry? Well, to answer this question, we got to take a look at some numbers. LaMelo Ball scores at almost a 60% efficiency rate when he gets into the restricted area, and he takes the bulk of his shots in there. In terms of catch and shoot threes, LaMelo scores at about 40%, which is just as good as Fred VanVleet, who is a bit of a three-point specialist. LaMelo has a high basketball IQ, and just by looking at these numbers and how he scores the majority of his points, I can see things working out just fine if he were playing alongside Chef Curry. Curry also draws constant double teams, so if LaMelo was there, a quick pass from Steph to Melo would create a clear driving lane for LaMelo to either go for the layup or dish out a dime to the next open man. How would the Warriors be doing this season if LaMelo was on the roster instead of Wiseman? Well, LaMelo Ball is averaging 16 points per game, which is 5 more points than James Wiseman. Also, he averages 6 assists per game, which is 5 more than Wiseman. In terms of rebounds, they're about the same, so although I love James Wiseman, for this season at least, it's hard not to see Golden State in the top 5 in overall Western Conference rankings if Melo was the number 2 pick. They would have certainly won more games with the points Ball was throwing down, and there is no question that LaMelo would have made the Warriors' offense better, for this season at least. What does the future hold for Melo and Wiseman? Melo, as his dad calls him, is surely guaranteed to be a star in the NBA. Wiseman has also shown the ability to be just a flat-out star one day in the league as well. All people can do is speculate. You can never tell if Wiseman will pick up his game or not, but if he does become what most of us see in him, he can be a tremendous force for the Warriors. And people would forget the debate of him and Melo. There are similarities in both of these two young players. They both want to win and are both very, very, very energetic. But there are some big differences between the two. Melo will rely on his ball handling and vision to create openings and score. Wiseman, on the other hand, will use his length and athleticism to dominate both ends of the court. It all depends on how these stars' skills are properly harnessed and utilized. We can see LaMelo will likely become a leader in the Hornets squad if he continues to evolve his game and get enough game time. It's the same thing for Wiseman, but one thing is for sure. The future looks promising with these two guys balling on our TV screens.